Namaskar, greetings friends. It is Saturday, the 17th of May 2025, and it is time for another episode of my weekly analysis. A look ahead at the markets to understand and anticipate what's in store for us in the coming days and weeks. Not a long time ago, at the beginning of April, a major market correction started. It was triggered by President Trump's so called Liberation Day utterances. Since then, he has softened his posturing and actually entering into negotiations one country at a time and one block at a time. That has resulted in market recovering some of the losses it made due to that sharp reaction. I was looking at S&P 500 and FTSE 100 index charts, and as much as close to 86% of the loss made since the first week of April has already been recovered by the market. It also means that some of the stocks that have recovered might now be entering into an area where some profit taking might take place. So, in today's episode, we will look at the two indices I mentioned and also four stocks. These four stocks are NVidia, Microsoft, Tesla, and Alibaba. But before we go into the charts, a quick word of statutory disclaimer. The information being shared in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It should not be construed as an investment advice. Individuals are encouraged to do their own research and assume full responsibility of any actions taken based on the suggestions provided. Let us take a quick look at S&P 500 and FTSE 100 charts to see how the recovery has taken place in past couple of weeks. The first chart we look at is the S&P 500 chart. You can see this steep fall and then equally steep recovery in last few weeks. So let me just draw Fibonacci retracement on this to show you what I mean by close to 86% recovery. So this is the 78.6% retracement and it has just gone past from this top to the bottom. I did the calculation myself looking at this close on Friday, and it is at 85.85% of the total loss here has already been recovered. Now, due to this sharp recovery, you can see that RSI has also gone up sharply and is now just under 70. It is close to getting into an overbought area, which means that some people will start taking profits on the stocks they hold, which might result in the index taking a little bit of pause here, maybe retreat a little bit before it gives another push ahead. Next, let us take a look at FTSE 100. FTSE 100 is also a very similar story. You see this sharp sell off and an equally sharp recovery. If I draw the Fibonacci from the top of this to bottom here and extend, cover the current price action, you will see the Friday close is above 78.6%. I did the calculation of where the current price is based on this total value here. About 86.33% of this total move has already been recovered. Also, just like S&P 100, the RSI here is going towards the overbought area. Although in comparison, this one still has to make a little bit of ground before it gets to 70 and above. But both these indexes are telling us that a little bit of profit taking might be in order soon in coming days. So my suggestion will be to be very careful in not adding too heavily into very sought after stocks because they will be at a premium value at this point in time. Because both these RSIs are getting close to overbought area, both these indexes will take a pause, maybe retreat a bit before another lag up. So my suggestion will be to wait for that retreat if you want to add to your existing positions. However, if there are stocks that you want to reduce your exposure in and take some profits, keep an eye on both the indexes, the respective RSIs, and of course the individual stocks as well. Let us now take a look at the four stocks we spoke about at the beginning. The first stock I look at is NVIDIA. I would like you to focus on this part of the price action. Let me draw a channel covering this price action. As you can see, this downward channel has been broken here with a very strong momentum to the upside. This short-term downward trend is now well and truly over, and we should be looking at this move up and its corresponding rising trend line. So let me get rid of this. and see if we can find a line which will act as a support line going forward. So I will just join these two for now. Currently, the RSI has just popped above 70 and has come back as a result of this last candle. My hunch is that it will take a pause where it is at the moment and will try to come back and pick up some more orders from this area where a gap occurred and a very sharp move up happened. Okay, so let me just mark that area here for everyone to see. So a clear area of demand from where a very sharp move up happened. Now, since the price is already pausing here, my hunch is that it will make a visit to the trend line, pick up some buyers from here, and then do the next step. Let me draw the path that I anticipate. The next pause will be at this area, which also I will mark. So this is how I see NVIDIA behaving in the coming days and next couple of weeks. This is an area where people would want to take profit, but we will cross that bridge when we get there, because by that time, if my RSI makes a shallower high, then that will indicate a sure short area of profit taking. So that's how I see NVIDIA. Currently, I hold NVIDIA, but it is not close to the exhaustion point as a single stock in my portfolio. So I will certainly be looking to add if and when the price gets to this area. If it doesn't, I'll just let it go and be content with my current position size. Next, let us take a look at Microsoft. Similar to NVIDIA, Microsoft also was in a downward channel from here. If I show you by drawing the channel, this downward channel was broken here. That meant the trend was reversing. Please also note that it made a big gap here. So let me just draw that gap here for you. This gap here. When such gaps are created, what it means is that a lot of people who might be interested in buying here could not have their fill. Not all of them, because the price jumped from here to this point. So typically, after a little bit of time, the price revisits this gap area to pick up all those buyers which never got an opportunity to join. It is quite at a premium at this point in time. The RSI is also showing overbought. So the question of adding at this point does not arise. However, because there was such a good momentum, I think it will not be good idea to take profits here, because there is probably a lot more left in this. So if you're not close to your limit of exposure in a single stock, I would not recommend selling it at this stage. However, what I would like to say is that keep an eye on the price action. It will at some point revisit this area, whether it comes to just at the top of this area or comes right up to this point, one can never tell, but it is likely to revisit that area. And if you've not exhausted your single stock limit, perhaps it'll be a good time to add in here. In terms of my own plan, I will be looking at a number of points here. So the first point is here, which is right at the break point. If the price revisits this area, that will be the best place to buy it from. Honestly, because that's where this big gap happened. If it comes back here, it will be a really good area to buy from. It will act as a support and will be a good value for money in comparison to the current price. So that is one area. The second area, of course, is here, which is just at the top of the bubble I marked. So there is a very good chance that price will come back here, because the RSI is already showing overbought situation. Some people who've got a lot of the stock might take some profits, and that will result in price retreating back. So one possible path is price coming back here, pick up some buyers, and then going back up. But what I'm interested in is some points within this channel, because there was a gap here. I do not know where the price might retreat from. So in order to find those areas, if I use Fibonacci again on this move here, so you'll get some points here, this point here, 0.38 38.2%, 50%, and so on and so forth. Now this is valid with the assumption that the current top will hold. However, that's never certain. If it makes another push up, then you'll have to consider that top to draw your Fibonacci retracement areas. But Fibonacci retracement areas will help you to understand where the price might retreat back. In the current circumstance, considering this as top, you can see that the rectangle that I drew falls at 23.6% retracement. So that's definitely a good area, because it kind of aligns with this demand here and also a key Fibonacci retracement area. But whether it will come to 38.2% or 50% or 61.8%, which was my most preferred area, we don't know. So I think in terms of planning, I will drip feed this. If it starts coming down, my first addition will be here. Okay, then I'll wait. If it goes up from there, good days. If it doesn't, if it comes further down, then second addition will be at the next key level, next Fibonacci level, and finally here. So that's how I plan to deal with the Microsoft stock. My current average is at 390 here, 390. So I'm in decent profit on this at this stage, but I would like to add further when I get to any of these levels. So that's my plan for Microsoft for the coming days. Next, let us take a look at Tesla. I would like you to pay attention to the price action starting from this point up to the current price action. So this block first, if I draw a channel, as you can see, this downward channel has been broken around here at this point. But before the break, the price made three bottoms here, a triple bottom. So let me just draw it for you so that you can see it clearly. So this triple bottom and then this break here. Let me also draw this horizontal line, which is the top of this particular high here. Why I'm drawing this as an important point is as follows. See, although the trend was broken here, because this was the highest of the swing highs in this current structure, if this current structure was to be valid, then this neckline needs to be broken, and that took place here. So whilst there was a clear indication that the downward trend is breaking, a real good confirmation happened at the point here when this was broken. Okay, so for those who want to add to Tesla, the break of this neckline has confirmed that it is good to add now to Tesla. Because the price has been under pressure for such a long time, this little leg up followed by this leg up has meant that the RSI is now showing overbought condition, which means that some people will start taking profits here because of this recency bias. As soon as price starts showing up, people start taking profits because they're not sure about the long term viability of holding this stock, and that is because of the recency bias. However, in my view, selling at this point is probably not a good idea. And I say that because if you look at this entire move and draw Fibonacci a retracement on this current price action is at 50%. There is another 50% yet to be recovered as far as this loss is concerned. Whether it will do so or not, no one knows that. However, I wouldn't like to rush into taking profits at this stage. In my view, what this will do is, there is this clear demand here. A sharp move here meant that there are still some buyers who might not have been filled. So there is a possibility that the price will revisit this area before making another push up. So let me just draw that. So this demand area here, which also coincides with the break of the neckline. So the likely path will be price coming back here, picking more buyers from this area, and then making a move to the next level, which is here 61.8%. Come back here. Now this resistance will act as a support, so stop here before making the next move here. In my view, the consideration for selling will be anywhere beyond these 2 points. Okay, so in my view, right now is not the time to waste this opportunity, which is coming after a long wait whilst this was in a declining channel. So in my view, the future in the next coming weeks will look like a rising channel or rising trend line, something like this. So that is my view on Tesla for the coming days and weeks. Last but not the least, let's take a look at Alibaba. The chart is very similar to how the indices look like, the steep fall around the time when this tariff war was begun, and then a recovery since the rhetoric has been softened a little bit. But what's interesting here is that instead of sustaining the movement here, which the indices are, this is showing a little bit of weakness here. Now, in order to understand this part of the chart, I will drop to a 4 hourly chart and see what it is telling me. So if I change my time period to 4 hours and look at this price action here, there was channel in place, The price was going steadily upward in this channel up to this point when it broke below the channel. Okay, now this is quite interesting. On 4 hourly, this price is actually struggling and might come back to revisit some of the key demand areas before it resumes the journey up. Okay, so let me just draw those points on Fibonacci just for this move. Yeah, so clear resistance turning into support here. So this is one area aligned with 38.2% retracement. The next area is this, which is also aligned with this resistance turning into potential support, and another area here. So go back to daily and expand this. This area here where after this candle there was a gap and then another gap here. So in this area there are potential buyers who never got an opportunity to join this upward trend. Now that the price is showing weakness and the 4 hourly trend has been broken, my hunch is that price will revisit these areas and these buyers will jump on to the bandwagon. So let me just draw that area here for us to follow going forward. It is this area that I'm referring to. And my reasoning is that the price made a gap from this point onto this point. So there is a kind of a demand supply imbalance in this area from my perspective. That's how I'm looking at Alibaba for the coming days. With that, I conclude my weekly analysis for today. Hope you find it useful. If you like the contents of this channel, please like, subscribe, and share with other people who might find this beneficial. Thank you. Have a good week ahead. Namaskar.